What's up, Silver and Black Nation? Welcome to the Silver and Black Lair. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. Uh, it's Friday! Whoop, whoop! There we go. Kick it off right. I have to yell. I feel like if I don't yell, I'm not podcasting. So I yell sooner. Hey, what's up, Adam Glenn? Thank you for checking in. Kind sir, number one fan, Adam Glenn. There we go. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Friday, it's a work weekend for me, so might as well be freaking Monday, right? So I hope everybody's having a good day so far. Work week's almost over for most of you. For the ones that will be sloshing through the weekend like me, slugging through the weekend like me, sucks to be us. All right, anyway, let's kick this off right. Let's just get to it so I can go to bed. Cliff Kingsbury, new OC. Not a done deal yet. So I've learned, especially being a Mets fan with the whole Carlos Correa thing that happened last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was now. It feels like 10 years ago, to be honest with you. Where the Mets, signed Carlos Correa. He was a done deal. People are buying Carlos Correa jerseys, and not so fast, my friend. In the words of the great Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friends. Failing the physical, and the Mets pretty much rescinded the contract, or they tried to give him a lesser contract. He refused, and he went on his merry way and back to Minnesota. So it's not a done deal till it's a done deal. Whether it's coach or player. As soon as I can see that breaking news come through on my phone from CBS Sports or ESPN saying Cliff Kingsbury is the new offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders, and I will believe that Cliff Kingsbury is the new offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders. Until then, it's speculation, it's rumor. It was reported by Adam Schefter. That is a very reputable source. I don't even know if he's the one that puts the news out there. I don't know if he's actually a source. He gets it from the source. I don't know. Whatever you call it. But, he's the one that was reporting that Cliff Kingsbury was going to be the Raiders' next OC. And from some of the podcasts that I was listening to, especially Locked On Raiders with Q, it sounds like he's going to be the next OC. They're just working out the details and stuff. So, just when it's official, it's official. It's not official yet. So I'm not going to hop into it right away and be all excited and what kind of offense we're going to have or anything like that. I'll still talk about it, but I won't be settled into it until it's actually official. Adam wants to know, why didn't they hire Lewis? They did hire Lewis. He's the assistant head coach, or the assistant to the head coach, assistant head coach, however you want to look at it. So the way I take that, basically, he's kind of mentoring Antonio Pierce. That's how I take it, to be honest with you, Adam. He's hired to be a kind of a mentor to help Antonio Pierce through some growing pains as a first-time legitimate head coach. And we've seen those growing pains this past season with the Raiders. Poor clock management. A couple times calling for the challenge flag when once or twice actually when you weren't allowed to, so we ended up taking a penalty for it. But also challenging plays that were obviously we were not going to win. So it's stuff like that. So I think it's good to have somebody like Marvin Lewis around. And also like you say here, Adam, again, coach in waiting. Yeah, if something were to happen, if he just super tanks over the next season or two, you do have Marvin Lewis there to kind of fall into that spot as an experienced head coach. And even Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury is a former head coach, so he does have experience, whether it's good or bad. He did take the Cardinals to the playoffs in 11-6 the one season. I don't know if it's 2021 or I think it was 2021. And so it's not, it wasn't all good at Arizona, but wasn't all bad either. And he still has some experience as head coach. He went through the growing pains and all. Eileen. Good morning, Eileen. It's Friday. There we go. The other number one fan we got here. Two number one fans, Adam Glenn, Eileen, always checking out all the shows. Great guys, great guy and lady, guy and gal, I should say. Uh, but yeah, they check into all the shows, always commenting, keeping it going for me and for whoever's hosting, the shows. It's easy, makes things a lot easier when you get comments or questions coming through to kind of discuss or play off of a little bit. It's really hard when there is no comments or there, stuff like that, because it's just you talking, especially when you're a singular host. I'm just talking to myself. Then if there's no comments, I'm staring at my face in the screen. I'm like, man, I am fat. What am I doing right now? What am I talking about? I can't remember what I'm talking about now because I'm thinking about how fat I look on this screen. And it's good to have the comments take my mind off my chubbiness. So back to Cliff Kingsbury. So I am excited for this. Adam Glenn's throwing down the old gauntlet here to Eileen. He is the number one fan. I don't know, Adam. I don't know. Them's fighting words. She's a New Yorker. She's a city gal. I think she lives in the city or pretty close to it. That's close enough for me. She'll be coming down to the skook and whooping your ass. I am excited though if Cliff Kingsbury is the Raiders' next offensive coordinator. I mean, there's been a lot of Cardinals fans that saying that his offense is predictable. He's predictable as a play caller. His offense is 75% non-dynamic and 25% dynamic. We'll see. That's as a head coach, and there's different responsibilities as a head coach. There's getting bogged down with different things as a head coach kind of throws you off track. Just an offensive coordinator, if he can just focus as an offensive coordinator, and that's it. We'll see what happens with the play calling then. That's his prime focus. That's 100% of his attention is play calling, offense, and all that stuff. We'll see if he has what it takes to be a big time offensive coordinator, which I think he could be. I mean, he didn't do all that well record wise at I think Texas Tech when he was coaching there. But his offenses were always, awesome. It did help that he did have Patrick Mahomes for a few years, but his offenses were always awesome. His defense were always shit. It's hard to win games when you're giving up, 30, 40 points per game, but they're also scoring 30, 40 points per game. So it was always a lot of fun to watch those Texas Tech teams, a high-flying, air raid offense, but their defense was also an air raid defense. They gave up a lot of points. Hey, Toddrick, how you doing, buddy? Todd, thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. He says, what do you think the Raiders will take? Who do you think the Raiders will take in the draft? And that's something that I am going to talk about. Let me skip ahead here real quick with the banners, and I'll hit it now. The hell with it. It's my show. I didn't even put a banner up for it, so we don't have to even worry about it. But yeah, so for draft wise, I don't want to see the Raiders trade up too much. I mean, I don't want to see them go all the way up to like number 1, number 2, or number 3, because the bad luck that we've had drafting first round picks, either we don't draft the right guy, or when we do draft the right guy, things don't pan out, or we end up trading his ass away like Khalil Mack, stuff like that. So I'm not all in on them trading all the way up for like a Caleb Williams or that kid from LSU, Jaden Daniels, I think his name is. And I think there's a kid I'm starting to hear more of. I think I want to say it's Drake May. That sounds like a made up name from like a James Bond movie or something. Drake May. I don't know. Octopussy. Anyway. Realistically, Caleb Williams worked with Cliff Kingsbury. He was Cliff Kingsbury was just the OC at USC. So, they have a working relationship already. So it would make sense for the Raiders to go after Caleb Williams. And I'm not a big Caleb Williams fan. I think the kid's a douchebag, to be honest with you. But then again, that could be all like media, driven type stuff. Like the stuff that's been put out there that he's demanded and said already, and he's not even in the NFL. You know, that could be overblown. I don't know. I'm just going off what I read on the interwebs and stuff like that, and what I hear through other sports talk. And it sounds like he's a dickhead or a douchebag. A douchebag, not a dickhead. He's not a dickhead. I'd say he's a douchebag, if anything. And there is a difference. But there are moments that he is a dynamic football player. He is passionate about the game, and if he could just get out of his own way with douchebagginess. That's what I meant to say. He might be all right. But the Raiders are going to have to give up a lot just to go up and get him. You're probably looking at 2 or 3 first round picks. Not to mention probably second and third round picks. Maybe a player, maybe you throw out like a Hunter Renfrow in there, which I want Hunter Renfrow to stay around, especially if Cliff Kingsbury is going to be our new OC. But that's what you kind of look at if you want to get in the top 3. And hearing reports, the Bears are really taking a long look at Caleb Williams. Does that mean they trade Justin Fields away? And I want no parts of Justin Fields. Yeah, he's a mobile quarterback, but I don't think he's a very good thrower. He does have a decent arm, but it's very inaccurate, and we don't want that. I don't want that. I'd rather have a statue back there with an accurate arm than somebody running around with their hair on fire that throws it willy-nilly everywhere. And kind of like Jamarcus Russell almost. Jamarcus Russell wasn't really all that mobile, but he just kind of threw it wherever the hell he wanted to. So Caleb Williams is a thought. Again, they have to give up a lot. And there's Bo Nix. That's the other one that intrigues me. Penix makes me nervous with his injury history. But he's super accurate passer, good arm. Just gets hurt a lot. Bo Nix is somebody that's mobile. Not mobile to the point where he's running for 1,000 yards a season. He's not, somebody like that. Like a Jaden Daniels, somebody that is, rushing for an insane amount of yards, but also throwing for an insane amount of yards. That's not Bo Nix. Bo Nix does scramble, though. He does, pick up first downs and stuff like that. He does, roll out. He does get out of trouble when it need be. So that's a quarterback that I want. That's a quarterback that I'm looking for. A lot like a Rich Gannon. When Rich Gannon was with the Raiders, he wasn't an overly mobile quarterback. He wasn't somebody that can get, run 70 yards, 80 yards a game. But he was somebody that can run, 10 to 15 yards a game. And those 10 to 15 yards are usually, a first down, 3rd and 3, blitzing up the middle, rolls out to the left, runs to the sideline, gets that first down. That's 3 yards right there. So stuff like that. That's the kind of quarterback that I want. Unfortunately, Aiden O'Connell's not that guy. I mean, he looks kind of spindly in the lower region of his body. Very thin legs. That looks like there's not a whole lot of muscle tone there. If he hit the squat rack a little bit, and maybe some speed training, some agility training, maybe he could be that, because he does have a strong arm. He is fairly accurate. I just need to get him to move out of the pocket a little bit, just move around. The one thing I thought Peyton Manning and Tom Brady always did well was, obviously they weren't runners. Brady did occasionally go out and pick up a couple first downs with his legs, but not often. But he did know how to move in the pocket. He had good pocket presence. He knew when to step up, go left, go right, stuff like that. Peyton Manning, I always hated watching Peyton Manning take a sack. Usually just fall over in the fetal position and that'd be it. Instead of, maybe getting rid of the ball or maybe trying to step to the side. But there were times where he's back there. The feet, Peyton Manning's feet were always going, always going, always going. And, I felt like he always had good pocket presence where he did step up very well, did move around. The kid that was after Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, what the hell was his name? I can't think of it right now. I could see his face. I could definitely hear his voice. But that's a guy, great arm, accurate, but he also got out of the pocket and ran, and he ran hard, which is probably why he isn't playing anymore in the NFL due to injuries and I think neck injuries and stuff like that. I can't think of what the hell his name is right now. Todrick says, "You're pretty good at talking, Kenneth. Have a good day. Back to work for me." Enjoy your day, Todd. Be safe. Thank you for checking it out. I'll see you Saturday morning at the basketball game, buddy. Todd, good dude, good friend of mine. We used to work together at my old job, at his old job also, for quite a few years, and now our daughters play on the same basketball team. So rekindled that friendship like that. So yeah, so that's my thought on that. So if the Raiders were going for Bo Nix, I think they'd probably have to jump the Broncos though. The Raiders sitting at 13, Broncos I believe sitting at 12. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at the draft. It's something I'll do as this draft gets a little bit closer. I'll look at the draft a little bit better, and but I think the Raiders would probably have to jump at least the Broncos if they're looking at Bo Nix or a Penix, because I think the Broncos, if they decide to get rid of Russell Wilson, are definitely going to pick a quarterback. Then it's a decent draft for quarterbacks. There's a decent handful of quarterbacks that appear like they can be difference makers in a franchise. I'm not going to say that they're going to be franchise quarterbacks, but you don't always need a franchise quarterback. You just need a quarterback that's good enough, serviceable enough, good enough to make plays when needed and not mistakes to win games. You don't always need that, world beater. So, a la Brock Purdy. It's like that. He's not somebody that you like. Oh, he's an elite quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. He's a very good quarterback that's leading his franchise to the Super Bowl. By making good plays when needed. He's surrounded by good players. Now, but you look at Patrick Mahomes, that's where you see an elite quarterback, a franchise quarterback. So you can kind of see the difference there, at least in my eyes, at least the way I'm saying it. It makes sense. So back to Cliff Kingsbury. His record with the Cardinals as a head coach, 28, 37, and 1. He was 11-6 in 2001, went to the playoffs, was knocked out in the wild card round. His 4 seasons with the Cardinals, and this is the one thing, a misconception about the air raid offense, is it's pass heavy and they don't run the ball. They don't really look at the running back. And that's what I thought also. I thought, Jesus Christ, so there goes Josh Jacobs. He's gone. We're not going to have any running backs. But it's actually relies on their run very much, which I didn't realize until I started listening to a couple of podcasts talking about him, and they were talking about like how James Conner had really big seasons under Cliff Kingsbury as a running back, rushing the ball and catching the ball. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I remember James Conner having some really decent years when he left Pittsburgh with Arizona. So I looked at it a little bit further. I think there was a Sports Illustrated article on it. And the 4 seasons at Arizona, the rushing offense, the first season finished 16th. Second season, 13th. Or no, I'm sorry. This is offense. I'll get to the rushing in a second. The offense finished 16th of his first season, 13th his second season, 11th third season, and 21st his fourth season in scoring. That's in offensive scoring. Rushing in 2020, they ran the ball the 6th most in the league, which is really that's a lot. They had the 7th most yards in 2020 as well. Now again, in its COVID year. Then you look at 2021, they ran the ball the 7th most, and they had the 10th most in yards. So very run heavy. They relied on the run a lot. And I was also reading how he kind of modified his style of air raid offense to fit a pro style when Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback at Texas Tech. So he's able to modify that. Put in a couple wrinkles to benefit the quarterback. So that's something that you could see he's very adaptable to who's under center and who he has in the backfield. And that's something that to get excited about. If you could have Josh Jacobs kind of he said he's 100% in if we hire AP, the Raiders hire AP. Now he's got to hold up his end of the bargain, or is he going to punk out? I think that Josh Jacobs will hold up his end of the bargain. He will sign. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. It might be 2 years, $14 million a year. So 2 years, $28 million. And there's potential there because he is a very good receiving running back. Blocking, he's an all right blocking running back. That's the one thing that I thought Zeus can do better in. There's a couple times at the end of the season where either he missed a block, or got blown up on a block. And Zeus is a big dude, so when I say big, I mean thick. He got arms bigger than my head. Arms are bigger than watermelons. Just huge, giant arms on that man. And so the running backs are very important. The one thing that's not important, it seems like, is going to be your fullback. So I wouldn't expect Jakob Johnson to be back with the Raiders. I believe he's a free agent because what they do is they spread out the defense. They spread out the defense in the air raid offense, try to create the man-to-man mismatches, and then you kind of pick the mismatch from there. They also do a lot of crossing routes, a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of stuff to running backs. Not just dump off stuff. Running backs. Getting upfield some, work in the middle of the field. So I'd expect Michael Mayer to spread out more this season, and he'll get a lot more looks as well as tight end. And another issue I see right now is if you're going to run the ball that much, and we've seen it happen this season, you have to have an offensive line that's able to sustain some blocks, because you're spreading the defense thin, but they're still going to bring somebody. They're still going to put pressure. There's still going to be people in the box, and your offensive line has to be able to handle that. And the running back also has to make people miss. Which wasn't very very good this year. We didn't sustain blocks in the running game. There occasionally we did. Occasionally it looked good. It looked like the running game of 2022. But for the most part, the most season, it was really tough sledding for Josh Jacobs. Zamir White, when he finished the season, I thought our offensive line looked pretty decent. So he's his rushing totals were really nice. A couple of 100-yard games to finish the season. But even before that, it was tough sledding for Zamir White, tough sledding for Josh Jacobs, and it was mostly due to the offensive line being stood up at the point of attack, and there was times where the ball's getting handed to Josh Jacobs and he's already getting hit. He has nowhere to go, or he takes a step or two up, a yard or two behind the line of scrimmage, and he's getting hit. There's nothing you could do. There's no way to make anybody miss. There's no way to power through a tackle. You're just toast. I mean, you're as soon as you get the ball, you try to get any sort of momentum, you're being hit. So they have to retool their offensive line, which I've talked about, I think, the last 2 episodes actually, about what I could see them doing. And that's the one thing about that, going back to the draft, I could also see them with that first pick, if they decide to go through free agency or trade in quarterback, going offensive line with their first pick. So that's kind of where I'd like to see him go. If they don't go quarterback, is offensive line. And then after that, maybe look defense, try to solidify that defensive backfield, decide what we're going to do with Amik Robertson and guys like that. I think Amik Robertson's a free agent. I can't remember who else is a free agent in the defensive backfield. I'm not sure if there's anybody else of note, but I know Amik Robertson definitely is. And I think they should bring Amik back. When will the Raiders trade Adams to the Jets? It's not going to happen, Adam. If it does happen, it ain't going to happen this season. I could see it happening if everything goes to shit. This doesn't work out. I could see them trading Adams maybe next year or the year after. To the Jets, I don't know, but I think this is. I don't want to say the final straw. This could be the breaking point for the Davante Adams in Las Vegas. If the Raiders go out there and they shit the bed again, I could see him asking for a trade, and I could see the Raiders granting it to him. Mark Davis, has come out, talking about how much he respects Davante Adams, and Davante Adams has come out and saying how much he respects Mark Davis and the Raider organization. So there is a lot of love there between both parties, and I think Mark would understand. I think he'd understand. I think he'd try to find the best spot for Devontae to go. And whether or not that's the Jets, I don't know. I don't think so, but excuse me. But we'll have to wait and see. If like I said, if the Raiders shit the bed this year, then maybe they explore a trade for Devontae next year to kind of help continue retooling the team, see what they can get back for that draft pick wise and stuff. So looking at the Raiders head coaching hires so far this year. So yeah, obviously I have the Raiders hiring Antonio Pierce as head coach. Everybody wanted it. Most of the fans wanted it. The whole locker room wanted it. So there it is. Let's see what happens. He immediately hires Marvin Lewis as the assistant head coach. Tom Telesco came in. Mark Davis hired Tom Telesco as your GM. Champ Kelly staying on as the assistant GM, it appears. So that's pretty big, I think. And Patrick Graham staying as defensive coordinator. I think that's really big as well. So we'll see. Because there's no other. I think all the head coaching vacancies are now filled, so there's nowhere for him to go. And the Raiders aren't going to let him go to another team as defensive coordinator. So it looks like he's pretty well. I don't want to say stuck, because I feel like he and AP respect each other, professionally and personally. So it's not like it's I'm stuck with this, this clown or whatever. I think they get along well. I think they work together well, and we'll see. Well, because Patrick Graham's the one that brought Antonio Pierce onto into the silver and black, as a linebackers coach. And now Cliff Kingsbury as a potential offensive coordinator. Like he said, it's not official yet. It sounds like it's like 95% there. So I would expect maybe later today, for word to come down that it is official. Checking my phone for any updates, any breaking news now. Nope. Just the Baltimore Orioles trading for what's his name from Milwaukee. That's the only breaking news I have on my phone right now. So that's the Raiders coaching hires so far. Looking good so far. I like where they're going with it. But we'll see. Continue hiring and continue building that staff. That's all I have on the Raiders for today. I'm going to transition over to the LA Kings. But still, if you have any questions or any comments about the Raiders or anything else, just shoot them out there, and I'll gladly talk about them. I'm not opposed to hopping around. I will go wherever the comments take me to. All right. Let's do this here. There we go. Shine it. Put a little bit of white there. How about that? Does that look white? It looks white to me, I think. That look white? Is that white? That's white. That's white. It's white enough. Anyway, LA Kings. Oh man, what a terrible January. Oh my goodness. And I talked about it back in December, the last week of December. I said, looking ahead to January, it's going to be ugly. They play a lot of really, really good teams. They play top teams in the league, or teams that are all in playoff races or in the playoffs if it was to end today. And yeah, it didn't go well. 3 wins in January, I believe, and that's it. 3 wins out of 15 games. I think they had 4 or 5 overtime losses through the month of January. It's just really, really bad. I mean, and it doesn't help at all that the Edmonton Oilers just blew past them. Oilers on a 16-game win streak right now, and the Oilers are so freaking talented, and it pisses me off. You can see it coming a mile away. So I don't know. Was it Saturday? It might have been Saturday. I don't know. The Kings played against the Colorado Avalanche, the number 1 team in What is that division name? I can't even think what division name is. The Kings are the Pacific. Maybe it's the Mountain. I don't know. I'm going to look it up here real quick, though, so I don't sound like too much of an idiot. Pacific, the divisions here. So we got the Atlantic, Metropolitan, Central. That's stupid. Central. Well, I guess no. I guess it's Central. Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg, St. Louis. That's kind of central. Nashville's kind of central. Arizona, Minnesota, Chicago. All right, I can see Central there. All right, I get it. But yeah, they played the number one team in the Central Division, and they got their peckers smacked. They got pushed around the whole game. That was a hard game to watch. Very hard game to watch. They lost 5-1, and it wasn't even that close. It was not that close. Kevin Fiala had a power play goal, his 12th goal of the season, assisted by Lair and Doughty. Cam Talbot started the game, and Cam Talbot is not right now. He is not right at all. He gave up 3 goals pretty quickly. Had 9 saves for 12 shots, a 750 save percentage. David Riddick came in. He didn't fare much better, but did better. Had 17 saves out of 19 shots for an 895 save percentage. The Avalanche outshot the Kings 31-27. We were 1 for 5 in the power play. We were 1 for 4 in the penalty kill. Penalty kill still doing really, really well. But the Avalanche, just like I said, just dominated the Kings. Kind of like the way we dominated them early in the season when the Kings were playing really well. They turned it around on us pretty good. So moving ahead to our game against St. Louis Blues. Big game there. St. Louis caught up to us like everybody else did. For the wild card, right? So right now the Kings are the number 1 wild card team. And the St. Louis Blues are nipping at our heels. So it's a huge game for us. Going into the All-Star break, we'd like to, finish strong, and especially against teams that are right behind us in the playoffs. Kind of, create a little bit of distance, a little bit of separation. We ended up losing 4-3 in overtime. So we did get a point out of it, but St. Louis got 2 points. And it was a very winnable game. St. Louis, if you ask me, St. Louis skated harder, had the more consistent zonal attack. It's the one thing that I struggle to understand. And again, I'm a hockey noob. I'm not really anybody that knows the ins and the outs and the intricacies of hockey. But I do know the more I watch, what works, what doesn't work. And it seems like a lot of teams create some decent offense in our zone. And I don't know if it's the type of defense that we play or what it is, but the Kings, the only offense that we're creating are through rush attacks. We don't set up in a zone normally. I mean, we do occasionally, but not often enough, in my opinion anyway. We don't set up in the opposing team's zone and move the puck around, try to create opportunity or holes or lanes. It's always rush. And then, we usually do a decent job on the forecheck, keeping the puck in the zone, but there's no sustainable offense out of it. Eventually it does trickle out. The other team reverses, and now we're in our defensive zone again. And that's how it kind of felt like against St. Louis. I felt like they were always in our zone. And defensively, I thought we played well. I thought Riddick played well between the pipes. If I remember correctly, it feels like weeks ago already. He did leave in 1 soft goal, but he was under a constant barrage, constant pressure. It's tough. It's not easy. So, like I said, 4-3 loss in OT to St. Louis. Kempe had his 17th goal in the first period that made it 1-0. Assisted by Kopitar and Laferriere. Jared Anderson Dolan, who's been playing not terrible. He hasn't been playing all that bad. He got his first goal of the season. It was a shorthanded goal in the second, made it 2-1. Gave us a 2-1 lead. Assisted by Trevor Lewis and Vladislav Gavrikov, my favorite name to say, my favorite LA King name to say. Philippe Denault got his 10th goal of the season in the second period, made it 3-3. Assisted by Trevor Moore, Drew Doughty, and that's where it was. Nothing in the third period. We go to overtime. Our overtime offensive attack is just silly looking. There's no flow to it. Early in the season, I felt like there in a couple of the overtime games, it was just beautiful flow. Constant circle, constant moving the puck. Weaving, and just constant movement. And now when I watch our overtime offense, our 3v3 offense, it's constant, struggle to pass the puck. It's constant turnovers. It's constant chasing, breakaways down. It's just so broken up and just awful. It looks really, really. It's almost a guarantee when we get to overtime, one, that we're not going to score, and two, either we're going to give up the game-winning goal in the overtime period, or we're going to give up the goal in the shootout. And it's just, we just cannot win those overtime games. We have 10 overtime losses. I believe that's what it was. 10. Yeah, we have 10 overtime losses. It's insane. And they're points. You get a point for that, but we want the 2 points. You want the full points out of it. We were able to outshoot St. Louis 33-32. That's a lot of shots to give up. And we're always up there in shots, always fairly high in shots. Rittich stopped 28 out of 32, an .875 save percentage. And again, under constant pressure. We were 0 for 1 in the power play. Penalty kill, pretty good night, 1 for 6. That one goal stinks, but there was 5 other opportunities that we shut them down. Then we finally get a win. Finally, we get a win, and it's against a team that just whipped our ass last week, and it's against a team that's nipping at our heels, in the wild card. The Nashville Predators. We're able to beat the Nashville Predators in Nashville 4-2, heading into the All-Star break. Huge game, and I don't feel good about the win. I felt like I don't want to say we were dominated, but they hit the post on shots, like 4 separate times. 4 separate times they're a half inch from scoring goals. So I mean, the post is the goalie's best friend, but holy crap, is the pings every time they shot, it was ping. The puck would go flying. It's unbelievable. But Rittich had a huge night. Terrific night between the net. A lot of great saves, and like I said, using the post very well. Cutting down those angles, not giving a whole lot of room to shoot for the opposing team. We got a comment here. Let me hit that up. Yes, finally, get a win there. It was Eileen. I don't know if you're a hockey fan or not, or if you follow sport at all. Like I said, I follow the Kings. I'm not into the whole NHL. I'd like to follow more of the whole NHL, but not quite there yet. But I follow the Kings very closely, and it's been a struggle. It's been a huge struggle. So disappointing from the way it started to where it's at now. It's been bad. So Grundstrom, he was able to get a goal. His 8th of the season, unassisted, first period, made it 1-0. And then Alex Turcotte, the rookie, he was able to get his first NHL goal. As in the second period, gave us a 2-0 lead. It's significant because he was a first-round pick a few years ago, and so high on the kid, and injury after injury after injury, setbacks. It was great to see him up, and it was great to see him finally get a goal. He's probably just going to get sent back down, but it is what it is. That's the life of the minor league hockey player, and all the weird ass rules that the NHL has for bringing guys up and sending them down. He's still under the umbrella where the Kings can call him up and send him down. I believe, if I'm correct in this, they can call him up and send him down as much as they want without having him to go through waivers. Now, one of the Kings rookies, I can't think of his first name right now, but his last name is Foggy Mo. So I'm just going to call him Foggy Mo because that's a lot of fun to say. It's like a little pet squirrel or something. Hey, come here, Foggy Mo. Want a nut? So he's a guy that the Kings don't have that luxury with because he's past the rookie years. I don't know if, through the AHL, the AHL, and which I think is 4, but I could be wrong. And so earlier in the season, I think before the season started, they sent him down, went through waivers, and he was picked up by, I want to say, Nashville. He didn't make his way back to the Kings, but then the Nashville Predators, I think it was Nashville, ended up releasing him, and the Kings were able to get him back that way. And Foggy Mo is a guy that's been playing terrific down in the AHL for the Ontario Reign. Jeez, I spaced on that. I want to say the Quebec Nordiques, but I'm like, it's not the goddamn Quebec Nordiques. What's the matter with you, Fry? The Ontario Reign. So Foggy Mo, having a terrific year down in AHL. Turcotte finally looks like he's getting healthy. Hopefully, he can stay that way. And the future may look bright. And there, also could be trade pieces there too. So the Kings are kind of cap strapped, and they got to use what they can use. So Turcotte got his first goal, gave the Kings a 2-0 lead in the second. I was assisted by Trevor Moore and Jordan Spence. Trevor Lewis, we have a Trevor Lewis sighting. Two-time Stanley Cup winner with the Kings. He scored a goal, his 6th of the season, made it 3-1 Kings. I think that was also in the second period. Assisted by Quentin Byfield and Alex Turcotte. So Turcotte gets his first 2 points as I don't know, is that his first assist? I don't know. But he also gets an assist in this game. And Quentin Byfield has missed the last 2 games against the Avalanche and the Blues due to illness. So it's great to see Byfield back. He's having a terrific season so far. We need his presence there on that first line or wherever they put him. Just need his presence on the ice. Then Kevin Fiala added an empty net goal, his 13th of the season, assisted by Philip Denault and Mikey Anderson, and that made the final 4-2. Real quick about Fiala. I'm a huge Kevin Fiala fan. I love his offense. I love the way he can create, his speed, his aggressiveness. But he does take a lot of dumb penalties. And I heard that on the Locked On Kings podcast, and I'm thinking, what do you mean dumb penalties? Like, I never really noticed. But ever since I heard that in the beginning of the season, I've been watching, and it seems like, if not once a game, once every other game, it seems like he just does something really stupid. And it's like, why in the hell did he do that? And he ends up in the box or turning the ball over or turning the puck over. And it makes you scratch your head. Well, against the Blues, Todd McClellan ended up benching Kevin Fiala, one of your best offensive players. At the end of the third period, he turned the puck over, and I believe this is all the same sequence. He turned the puck over, got pissed, and he ended up slashing or tripping a Blue, which led to a power play. I don't remember if that led to the power play goal that tied the game or not. Or they gave them the lead. I think it gave them the lead, 3-2. I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it created a power play opportunity for the other team, which is a stupid penalty. It's stupid. Instead of busting your ass, getting back on defense, turning around, slashing or tripping, whatever it was. So he went to the box. He served his 2 minutes, and then he got pulled to the bench, and he ended up sitting the rest of the third period and the overtime period, which wasn't a long period, because the Blues ended up scoring and beating the Kings, but still, he got benched, and you can see some players come up talking to him, and you kind of like, yeah, I'm cool, it'll be all right type of thing. But hopefully he gets the hit in here. Like, there's so much talent there, and I just hate seeing, the people are, the fans are starting to turn on him, and I'm not. I like Fiala. And I like playing him in my NHL 21 game. I play on my PlayStation 4 after work to kind of keep me awake. And I use Kevin Fiala a lot. He does very well for me. So also in this game, David Rittich had 40 saves out of 42 shots for a .952 save percentage. Like I said, terrific game. The Nashville Predators outshot the Kings. I've never seen a disparity like this, 42-24. So that's crazy. The power play, we're 0 for 1 again. Penalty kill, we were able to shut the Preds out, the Predators out 0 for 4. So good game. Good way to head into the All-Star break. You'll hopefully shake off some of that shit stink that's all over us right now, and kind of wash off it. Get the hose and pressure washer and get that shit off. Got Stacy Northup checking in. What's up, Stacy? Thank you for checking the show out, and thank you for commenting. Stacy's co-host from the Big Blue Power Hour, New York Giants show that we do here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Like, follow, subscribe. We're also on TikTok and the Instagram. So the 3 stars of the week. The number 3 star, I have Philip Denault. I thought he had a pretty good week. He's been struggling. His whole line has been struggling recently. Who is it? Denault. Is it Denault, Laferriere, and Fiala? I think that's the line. But yeah, he's been struggling. He has really been struggling. I felt like this week he kind of broke out a little bit. He had a goal and assist, and some pretty good opportunities, and he's been creating and stuff. So I feel like Philip Denault had a pretty good week. Number 2 star, David Riddich, one win, no losses, 1 overtime loss. Stopped 85 out of 93 shots for a .913 save percentage, which isn't bad, and a 2.66 goals against average, which is that's winning hockey. You can't expect too much more from your goalie, especially somebody like Riddich, was started down with the Ontario Reign, started in the AHL this season, then that injury to Phoenix Copley brings him up, and kind of like, what are we going to get out of him? And here he is looking like he's our best goalie right now. So the number 1 star of the week, I have Alex Turcotte for getting his first goal of his NHL career and the first, and also an assist. So he had 2 points this week. Just huge. I'm happy for him. Hopefully, like all that those injuries are behind him now, and he can go on and have a really good career, hopefully with the LA Kings. I'll also give a shout out to Drew Doughty. He had a couple points this week. Trevor Moore as well, and Fiala. He also had a couple points, but like I said, it's the bonehead plays kind of takes away from it. We should be celebrating how well Fiala's playing, but he does some stupid shit, and that's it. Detracts from the good. So looking at the stats, right here at the All-Star break, leading in points, we have a tie. Adrian Kempe, 17 goals, 26 assists, 43 points. And Kevin Fiala, 13 goals, 30 assists. He leads the team in assists with 30, with 43 points. Anze Kopitar, 15 goals, 26 assists, 41 points. Real quick, Kempe has a plus 11. If you don't know, plus minus, a plus is when you're on the ice and your team scores, you get a plus. If you're on the ice and your team gives up a goal, you get a minus. Pretty simple. Kempe's at a plus 11. Fiala's at a -6, which isn't good. Kopitar's at a plus 12. Trevor Moore, 21 goals. He leads the team in goals. 14 assists, 35 points. He's at a plus 5. Quentin Byfield, 14 goals, 21 assists. He's at 35 points, a plus 14, which I think may lead the team. Philip Denault, 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points. He's at a plus 3. Drew Doughty, 11 goals, 16 assists, 27 points. He's at a plus 9. Pierre-Luc Dubois, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points. -16. I dislike Pierre-Luc Dubois very much. I'm not even going to call his dumbass PLD anymore, or PL Dubois. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to call him by his full name to let him know I'm not happy. Like my mom used to do to me when I was in trouble. She'd go, Kenneth Zachary Fry Jr., get your ass over here. That's how I knew I was in trouble. So I'm going to say Pierre-Luc Dubois, get your shit together. That's what I'm going to say. Just like Mama used to say to me, if you watch the Batcave on Wednesday, it was my youngest daughter's birthday. I'll turn 11, but it was also my mom, who's no longer with us here on Earth. It was also her birthday. She would have been 61. So she used to say when I was in trouble, when I did something bad, Kenneth Zachary Fry Jr. And then, I proceed to get an ass chewing. Or, back in my day, there was spankings. So, and look at me now. I'm a podcaster. Holy cow. I'm not like a serial killer or anything like that. Anyway, but yeah, Pierre-Luc Dubois, get your shit together. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spank him or nothing like that. He'd probably kick my ass, but he's an athlete. I'm not anymore. somewhere under this, there's an athlete. I know there is. Looking at the goalies, Cam Talbot, our lone all-star, and that's another thing I don't understand. The dude's been playing so bad the whole month of January in goal, and he's still our only all-star because they picked this. Each team at the NHL picked, or if it's the players picked one player from each team to represent their team in the All-Star game, and then they fill out the rosters after that. Well, Cam Talbot was our one All-Star that was picked, and he's not very good. He's not doing very good at all. So they should maybe move that selection back a little bit next time. So he's 14, 13, and 5 with a 2.59 goals against and a 911 save percentage. And he was doing awesome. Absolutely awesome. But since January, he's at the bottom of the league in almost every major statistical category for a goalie. So it's been really, really, really bad. I think he has had, before that Avalanche game when we pulled him, he had three games in a row where he gave up 5 goals. And that's just awful. That's not winning hockey. So when we look at David Rittich, he's 5-1-3 with a 2.09 goals against, a 924 save percentage. He's our hotter goalie. So hopefully this time off at this All-Star break, I know Cam Talbot's going to go to the All-Star game and end up playing in the All-Star game, but just time away from the Kings, kind of time to relax and clear his head. Hopefully that rejuvenates him a little bit and he can come back and play like the Cam Talbot from the beginning of the season. Eileen says, way to go, Mama Fry, raising a good son. Yeah. Yeah, that's me. Good son. All right. Let's move on to the standings here. So looking at the Pacific Division, it's being led by the Vancouver Canucks. 33-11-5, 33 wins, 11 losses, 5 overtime losses, 71 points. Vegas Golden Knights, 29-15-6, 64 points. The Edmonton Oilers, 29-15-1, 59 points. They have a 16-game winning streak. So just think about that, 16 games. So that means at one point they were 13-15-1. Now they have a 16-game win streak and they're 29-15. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that's the top three. The top 3 spots in each division are automatic playoff berths. And then there's everybody else is fighting for 2 wild card spots. So your top 3 in the Pacific right now are Vancouver, Vegas, and Edmonton. The Kings are sitting there at number 4, 23, 15, and 10 with 56 points. And Seattle Kraken are a little bit behind right now, 21, 19, and 10, 52 points. Looking at the West overall, Vancouver leads the West with 71 points. Then you have Colorado, 32, 14, and 3 with 67 points. Then you have Dallas, 30, 13, and 6, 66 points. The Winnipeg Jets, 30, 12, and 5, 65 points. Those are your top 3 in the Central Division. Then you have the Vegas Golden Knights, 64 points. Edmonton, 59 points. LA, 56. Then St. Louis, 26, 21, and 2 with 54 points. Nashville, 26, 23, and 2, 54 points. And Seattle, 21, 19, and 10. So if the playoffs were to start right now, the Kings would be the number 1 wild card team, and this is how it would match out. The Vancouver would be your 1 seed. They'd be playing the 8 seed St. Louis Blues. Right now, with points, they're tied with Nashville, but they have, with tiebreaker stuff, they are ahead right now. So I'll make them the 8 seed. So Vancouver would play Seattle. Colorado would play Los Angeles Kings. Dallas would play Edmonton. That'd be your 3-6 matchup, and your 4-5 would be the Winnipeg Jets and Vegas Golden Knights. Pretty solid playoff games there, if you ask me. So, I mean, Winnipeg, Vegas, Dallas, Edmonton, there's some really good teams there, really good games that would be. So that's actually kind of exciting to see playoffs. I forgot to switch to the playoffs. That's my what was his name? He was just in a brand new commercial. I can't think of his name right now. Jim. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what his name is. His son was a coach also. So last topic for the today before I get the heck out of here. The good, bad, and the ugly for not really the first half. The halfway mark has been a couple weeks ago, but for the first half before the All-Star break, the good, bad, the ugly. The good, our penalty kill. Our penalty kill has been awesome. That was one of the things that really hurt us last season. If you go back and look at the playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers, they destroyed us whenever they were on the power play. Our penalty kill could not stop them. It seemed like they're scoring at a 50% clip on the power play, which is unheard of. So right now in the league, our penalty kill is the first. It's been first most of the season, first or second. It's in at 87.3%. It's like 2 percentage points above the next closest team. Also, the good Trevor Moore leading the team in goals. Kind of came out of nowhere a little bit. 21 goals, 14 assists, 35 points. And Quentin Byfield has really stepped up his game this year. I really like Quentin Byfield. If I had to pick an MVP for the first half of the season, it would be Quentin Byfield. I think he's played outstanding. Really good presence on the ice when he's out there, flying around, using his big body when needed, using finesse when needed. Doing a great job out there. He got a lot of crap last year as a rookie, but this season, looking really, really good. 14 goals, 21 points, 21 assists, 35 points. The bad, our power play, which was our good last year. We were near the tops of the league in power play. Right now, we're sitting in the middle at 21.2%. We're 16th in the league. It's just not, for some reason, it's not working out right now. And like a lot of people, a lot of experts, or a lot of people that know more about hockey than I do are saying a lot of that has to do with Victor Arvidsson not being in the lineup. He's still hurt, and hopefully he gets back sooner rather than later. I've heard a lot of people say by the end of February, so hopefully it's sooner than that. We also have Blake Lizotte out, was a big part of our team there on the fourth line. It brings a lot of energy when he's out there on the ice. So hopefully with the return of Victor Arvidsson, hopefully that can turn our power play around and our offense and stuff. It remains to be seen. We'll have to wait and see. Also with the bad, Andreas Englund, there's times that he just looks lost on defense, and it's creating too many open lanes, open slots for free shots, and just not back checking very well. Stuff like that. So Andreas Englund is part of my bad. The ugly, Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's the ugly, 10 goals, 10 assists, but a negative 16. The dude should be producing much more than 10 goals, 10 assists. He should be up where like Kempe and Fiala are, in the 17 goal, 30 assist range. He should be in the 40-point range, and the dude is sitting at 20 points right now. We signed him to a big contract, lucrative contract, traded for him, gave up a decent amount of assets. The guys that we gave up for him they have more points than he does. They're playing better than he does. They're playing on better teams than he is right now. A lot of the woes I attribute to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Trying to find where can we put Pierre-Luc Dubois where he's gonna snap out of this and play like the old Pierre-Luc Dubois. It's just not happening. I say my personal thought is go back to the way he was set up in the beginning of the season. Put him back with Fiala and I can't remember who else he was with on that line. I want to say Laferriere, but I don't know if that's right or not. But I think it was on the second line, and then they dropped. I think they dropped either Fiala down to the third line, or they dropped Pierre-Luc Dubois down to the third line to see if that would kind of. They've been mixing and matching. They've been mixing and matching, trying to get him, out of this slump or out of whatever the funk it is. I don't know. Trying to get him out of this funk, and nothing's worked. So I say just put him on a line, put him back where he was, and just let it go. Let it fly. What happens, happens, and go from there. And our other ugly, in my opinion, is our inability to sustain offense in the offensive zone, obviously. It's something I talked about earlier. We have some good rushes, but there's no sustained offense. Occasionally you get a good attack time in the offensive zone, But a lot of times it doesn't yield anything, doesn't yield any shots. It's a lot of passing, a lot of passing, a lot of passing, looking for that perfect shot, not putting puck on net. And yeah, that's one of the uglies that I have. And also our overtime offense, what I just talked about earlier, looks like a shit show right now. It's like a jumbled mess. And we're at the beginning of the season. It was beautiful. It's like a work of art. It was awesome. So those are my uglies for the first half of the season. Nose is stuffy now because I'm talking too much. So before I get out of here, I'm going to go ahead and do our sponsor reads. Let me get that off of there. Let me get this off of there. Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The office is located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And then in the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Once you get all your legal issues taken care of with Jason Fine, head on over to monkeycoldcoffee.com and celebrate with a big cup of coffee. monkeycoldcoffee.com, there's different varieties of coffee. They have the bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, Sumatran medium roast blend. They have one of their newer blends, organic blend, Peru, Florida. They also have a golden honey agave coffee. All coffee, very, very good there. I'm not blowing smoke up your skirts either. It's a good coffee. It's a good product. Also, every bag of coffee that you buy, a portion of those proceeds go to National Pediatric Cancer Research. So there's that. You'll help kids out. Head on over to the swag shop and get yourself a coffee mug, tumbler, t-shirts, cold brew pitcher, K-cup adapters, and don't forget that Paradise Rum Cake. Good stuff there also. So once you load up your virtual shopping cart with all the good stuff, at checkout, use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. The promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoldcoffee.com. I love Monkey Cold Coffee. I say it every time, and I mean it. I love it. And and Matt, good dude. He's a really good dude. I've talked to him a couple times, and yeah, so help the kids out too. With the National Pediatric Cancer Research, portion of the proceeds. I think it's 10% of each bag sold. I think I could be wrong though, so I don't want to put that out there, even though I just did put it out there. All right, so that's all I have for today. So I'm going to get out of here and go to bed. I work this weekend, so I will not be on the Atomic Drop podcast. That'll be on Saturday, 10 p.m. Cowboy Dave with a very special guest, Eddie Prather, making his out-of-the-box sports entertainment podcasting debut. There with Cowboy Dave talking WWE wrestling and everything WWE on the road to WrestleMania. I will be live next Wednesday with the Batcave, 10 a.m. And then also next Friday with the Silver and Black Lair. I'll be talking what to look for, looking ahead with the Kings. And we'll see what the Raiders do from then till now. If there's any more coaching hires, or if we get a clearer picture as to what the Raiders might do in the draft. This, that, and the other. All right. I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for checking the show out, commenting, liking. Be sure to go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. X, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm an old guy. I'm an old head. I remember when it used to be Twitter. It had a little bird as the logo, not an X. But anyway, like, follow, subscribe, especially on YouTube and X. Please subscribe and follow there. Hit the notification bell so you know when all the shows are on. We have something for everybody. And if you're interested in starting your own show up, let us know. We'll hook you up and we'll get you pointed in the right direction so you can come on here and talk about your favorite teams, sports, life, love, liberty, Batman. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you. I'll see you guys next Wednesday morning on the Batcave. Just win, baby, and go Kings, go.